Hi, everyone. Welcome to special presentation with Mike's and Ethan. Or 1, 2, 3, now.
Alf will not be seen
tonight.
That's right. Once again, we have one of my favorite people to pass guest starring roles on a podcast with back and forth like notes in class. It's Mike Westfall of Advent Calendar House. Welcome back, Mike.
Thank you both for having me. Thank you for having me on this one so I don't have to start a new podcast just to talk about this special that's been stuck in my head for like 40 years.
I have thrown around the idea with Mike W, that if we got together to do a podcast, we should just like go through the entirety of Nickelodeon's special delivery. But I don't know how much of that has actually been saved. So
I only know the little fox from that.
But yes, Mike is with us today because it is still, today is still Oy Vey, Toy May. And for Toy May, we are looking at I don't think this was a very successful toy line. I'm not even sure if it was necessarily considered a toy line so much as a media blitz that didn't go anywhere. But actually, and I think it got completely overshadowed in most people's heads by a Simpsons joke from a few years later.
Yep.
That's what I think of.
Yep, we are talking about Poochie. Now, I know who you're thinking of. No, not that Poochie. A different Poochie.
Yeah, this Poochie does not have attitude, and she is not in your face.
No, she is the original dog that is not from hell.
No, but so wait, was Poochie a toy?
Yes, that's why we brought it up this week. That's the theme. So
Poochie was a toy. I remember seeing a commercial of Poochie before seeing this special, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. I just remember it being a stuffed dog.
Okay.
Any memory I had of that
dog
was like has been supplanted by this special.
Here's a link to the Ghosts of the Doll Poochie page.
Okay.
Good old Ghost of the Doll has everything.
I love Ghosts of the Doll. I mean, the most obscure thing you can find is there on Ghosts of the Doll.
Huh. Okay, the Poochie toy doesn't really capture the look of the Poochie cartoon character.
One thing that you will notice about the Poochie toy versus the Poochie cartoon is that Poochie, the cartoon character, is so much more appealing than the actual toy that you see why they failed.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it. Is it the hair, maybe, that's doing it?
I think this is just a bad photo.
Yeah.
Now scroll a little farther down and look at the ones that are like keychains and little costumes.
That looks a lot closer to what's in this special. It's still a little different. It's drawn differently, but
redesigned her a little, because those look like illustrations from the special.
Yeah, it's got kind of a what do you call a Monchichi almost look.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
My theory is that Poochie was not a doll, not a toy, so much as like a line of stationery. I think she's supposed to be more like Hello Kitty, just a sort of branding that would go on just about anything.
That makes sense. Like that kind of feels that feels very the look of Poochie looks like something that you would just have on stationery.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the I don't see them here, but I have seen Poochie like coloring books and stuff that are just kind of I don't know how to describe how ugly they are.
Oh no.
Oh, really? Because like I feel like that actually takes some effort to make Poochie unappealing. Like seriously unappealing, because Poochie is such a stylized, kawaii type character.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I found one. I'm gonna pooch it right here, and notice that they added a friend for her that isn't in this cartoon.
Oh. Interesting. It definitely it's a subtle changes from the show, but definitely a lot more Western.
Yeah, very Western. Almost, I would say there's a bit of a smackerel of Carson DeLosa here.
Yeah. Yes.
If you don't know
It's
what
the
I mean by
mouth. It's
Carson
the mouth.
DeLosa,
I know exactly what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
like every elementary school classroom had those people with like the one face.
yeah. Imagine Kathy. Now imagine her smiling so hard that the corners of her mouth touch her eyes.
Yeah.
That's Carson DeLosa.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the elementary school poster guy. I didn't know he was a guy.
Uh-huh.
That's the name of the company. So yeah, Carson DeLosa was the ones who made it. The ones who made my probably my claim to internet fame, my one meme that has been passed around forever was that I drew the one with the cat flap face.
That's right. It'll be circling on Tumblr forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
My favorite thing about that is how every year they come up with a new thing to be reminded of. Like the first year that I did it, people were like, "Is this Photoshop Flowey?" And then it became, "Is this Five Nights at Freddy's?" And then it became, "Is this I don't know what's the other thing?"
Skibbity Toilet.
Yeah, is this Skibbity Toilet? Yes, basically.
It's like they're children. They don't understand. They don't know their heritage. They should be asking, "Is this Battletoads?"
Yeah, getting big Boss Baby vibes from this.
Yeah, but yeah, this the American Poochie comic coloring book. It's got a little bit of Strawberry Shortcake or Shirt Tails kind of feel as well. I think more so than a Hello Kitty. So, but I guess kids were not.
I want to see this one. Here's another book that's called Poochie: Many Mottos.
Mottos?
Reading a book with just a regular looking dog.
Yeah.
They're both wearing glasses.
Well, yeah, there's the issue here because these dogs look like they're from totally different kinds of children's books. Because Poochie looks like a kind of, again, Poochie looks like, okay, that is a Shirt Tails type character, whereas the other dog is clearly like, that's Judge Coonhound from the Bayou. One of those books where like, which are like animals, like, where animals wear overalls, like that kind of book.
Yeah. This dog looks like he's from the Get Along Gang.
Yeah. It's this although is a special rebate offer, so it looks like you didn't have to pay the full 99 cents to get this book.
Oh, well, good thing too. This is the kind of thing that I would buy all the time at Pick and Save in the 80s.
99 cents in this economy.
It's like, it better buy many mottos.
Yeah. Okay, what's the first of the motto you got here? A fool and his money are soon.
Oh man. So I guess Poochie, they attempted to make Poochie into a thing a lot harder than I thought because
I mean, to be fair, a lot of what I'm seeing here when I search for Poochie coloring book just comes from the same coloring book. But yeah, there's a lot more Poochie print media, and none of it seems to have anything to do with what's happening in this movie.
Now, the thing is, all this Poochie print media that you're showing me, if you said to me, like, there's a cartoon dog named Poochie, this is the sort of stuff I would expect. Like, oh, she's got friends and they're dogs and they hang out and they do, stuff that kids like to do, like roller skating and reading books and stuff. I would not expect the things that happen in the Poochie television special.
Nope.
The Poochie television special. Okay, what was everyone's first experience with it? Had you ever seen it before this, Mike? Or I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's use the other name. Bitter Corella. Had you ever seen the
yes
before? That's
so
right. Of course you have. I sent it to you.
That's right, and that was my first experience with Poochie. Was that tape that you sent me from your local thrift store down there? And I was already an adult when I saw it, and I just remember thinking that it was probably one of the most demented things I had ever seen, and it does remain that it is so much going on in this.
I have listened to the podcast where you and Oralina talk about the videos I sent you over and over again. It's one of my favorites. obviously, because I have so much, experience with it. But you never got around to talking about Poochie, and I was like, oh, do another one. I want to hear your thoughts on Poochie.
Oh, we never talked about I'm surprised because Poochie is definitely. I do believe that Orlina has used a lot of Poochie footage in the Furry Found Footage compilations.
Yeah. Damn, why didn't we invite her for this? Oh, well.
Well, we'll have her on when we do the White Stallion.
The Gallivants. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gallivants. Oh, geez. Wow. Oh, boy. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Speaking of things where there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Boy.
Mike W., where have you first seen Poochie?
I grew up with this tape. I had a copy that was one of those children's video library releases, the little balloon intro and the happy flute music. So,
yep.
You know how these video distribution companies would release these tapes, but wanted to use every bit of free space on the tape, so they just crammed a bunch of random stuff at the end?
Did they?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
It would just be... here are a few episodes of whatever Terry Toons thing we could find. So my tape of Poochie was followed by 2 or 3 short episodes of this Terry Toons cartoon from the 1960s called Luno the White Stallion.
What?
It was about this boy named Timmy, because he's always named Timmy, who has a toy Pegasus who would come to life and take him on adventures.
Oh, my God! Oh, shit! Oh my God! I know.
Memory unlocked.
Yeah, I did not recognize the name, but as soon as you said Toy Pegasus, oh my God, it's coming back. Oh my God, yes, I remember that one. They used to show it sometime. Again, it was shown early in the morning on military television. Yeah.
Right after the Mighty Heroes.
It was. I remember I often got it mixed up with a similar cartoon, which I think was called Sinbad, which involved a guy who was a sailor, and he had magic powers if he pulled on his belt. It was, but the same art style. Very strange. But anyway, you're saying the White Stallion.
Yeah, that was on my copy of Poochie that I had, and I found a copy of that tape. Someone uploaded it to YouTube.
Does it have the White Stallion bits?
With the White Stallion at the end of it, so...
Oh my God.
But the version that we watched did not have the White Stallion, but it did have, like... It did have some... Oh, it has... That's right, it has an ad for my first anime ever, The Little Prince.
Oh, this special kind of reminded me of The Little Prince.
Yeah, I can see that. But
maybe because Katie Lee does a voice in this too, so that might be.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The ad for The Little Prince seemed to indicate that anime did not follow the plot of the book very closely.
No, it's about him just going back and forth to Earth, just shooting stars, and meeting various people, and at one point having a very somber conversation about death that gets left on the cutting room floor because kids can't deal with that.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess that is at least that is in keeping with the spirit of the original book, The Little Prince. So I'll give them that. But was it cut out of the Japanese release of The Little Prince as well, or just the American release?
Just the American release. It's this. There's an episode of The Little Prince where the Little Prince meets somebody who has a beloved pet that ends up dying, and he doesn't know how he can carry on because it was his dancing bear. And at the end there's just like, maybe if you think about him and think about how much fun you used to have, maybe you'll be able to play music again. And it ends with him playing again, and the kids coming and dancing and joining him, even though there's no dancing bear this time. But in the English version, they dubbed it to, hey, guess what? It turns out that your bear was admitted to a hospital and he's getting better. Here, everyone's coming to celebrate.
Really? That's how they wrote that out?
Yeah.
Oh, boo.
Well, it's like that's very American. By the way, Optimus Prime is in a coma. He's fine. Okay, but so Poochie, though, the main meat of this tape. Well, Mike, you said you grew up with Poochie. So what what was it like growing up with Poochie? What are your feelings about this special, and what was it like seeing it as a child?
This whole episode has a very Inspector Gadget feel to it, I thought.
You notice
Hmm.
that, yes. This is not pure anime, even though it looks like it. This is a French-Japanese co-production along the lines of Inspector Gadget and Heathcliff. So, they're
Okay.
following the cartoon chain of command. Cat, dog, bumbling detective.
Yeah, like even the soundtrack sounded very similar, and I feel like Inspector Gadget also may have had an episode where Penny and Brain are exploring a pyramid like they do here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that feels that feels. I think most series would at least have one pyramid episode back then.
Sure.
There was kind of a fad for it in the 80s. We all love pyramids.
Yeah.
We all
I
got in on the
just-
schemes.
Yeah.
I just remember the soundtrack is the most powerful thing in this for me. Like that's the opening theme song.
It's kind of a
Yeah.
bop, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very much a bop, and it's a Shuki Levy Haim Saban joint. So
Of
Mm,
course,
that makes sense.
yeah. They were there. I think they were involved with everything we've watched for this month. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's got the Beverly Hills Teen feel to it.
Yeah.
And also it establishes the well, I don't know, does it establish anything actually? It just asks Poochie, are you really there? I guess it's
from the perspective of the kid who has been, who is being united with Poochie after having been lost.
Yeah, like the
That's-
theme song does say something like "a boy is lost so far away," and then it gets repeated in this robot voice: "A boy is lost so far away."
Well, it's accurate because boys are lost and there are robots in that. So I guess it does kind of prepares us as well as anything could for what is to come in the absolutely deranged Poochie special.
Yes, you cannot predict from the first minute to the 5th to the 10th where this special is going to go.
No, well, I mean, it's funny because it starts off like, there's a dog, and the dog is also an advice columnist in a magazine. And it doesn't stop there. Like, that's already enough insanity, I would think, for like an entire television series. You could have a whole series like Alf or Scorch or something just based on this premise. Oh yeah, dog. Actually, I guess literally that is the premise of the now forgotten mid-aughts television series Dog with a Blog. But
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But this predates blogs. So Poochie is an advice columnist for I think the name of the newspaper is The New World.
Yeah, I think
World
so.
Now, I think.
World Now. Yeah. So it's so Poochie is the advice columnist, but Poochie.
This is why a connection to the whole idea of Poochie as a stationary property, because the first letter she answers is, "Try writing your friend a note."
Oh, okay, gotcha. I feel like that idea is very funny. That like in some corporate boardroom, they're like, kids aren't using enough paper. How do we encourage this?
But so okay, actually, we start out with a kid who looks exactly like Daniel Witwicky from Transformers the movie.
Right.
And his name is in fact Danny.
Yeah. That's who Katie Lee's voicing. This kid sounds like the Little Prince.
Yeah, exactly. And he looks like the Little Prince too. So
yeah, kinda.
Yeah. So he is on the run for bad guys, and he writes a letter to Poochie. I guess he thinks that an advice columnist, he really needs advice when he's being chased by bad guys.
Yeah, he's like, I just need the biggest piece of advice you can give me. He's being chased because he's in Cairo, and he's like, I'm being chased by guys, so I really need someone who can help me in 5 to 8 business days, I guess. So I'm gonna mail this letter to Poochie.
Yeah. How long was he saving up for that stamp?
Really?
Yeah, but and actually, I'm trying to think, like, how long would it take the mail to get from Cairo to, I assume, America. I don't actually know where Poochie
Yeah, they're in New
is.
York.
City.
It's the envelope says New York.
Oh, okay, there we go, New York. So the city that
In
never sleeps.
1985, no less.
Yeah, yeah. But Poochie is So Poochie is a dog, and
Yes. Poochie is a dog with her own limo, but she's also the most popular column in the World Now paper, and we see her limo passing by what appears to be a Poochie branded diner.
Yeah, I saw that this time. I didn't notice that before, but I guess Poochie's that popular. She's like, she's the dog of the owner of this magazine. Is
Yes.
what the people working at the magazine think, at least.
Yeah, and okay, so
the famously reclusive owner who never shows his face, but you have to be really nice to his dog.
Yeah, the only one who ever sees the owner is the dog. So
is Poochie.
Yes. But the thing is, okay, so there's several things going on here. First of all, there's the fact that Poochie is ostensibly writing this. Okay. Let me see if I'm understanding this. The owner of this newspaper supposedly writes an advice column, but has branded it with Poochie and tells everyone Poochie writes it, and everyone is going along with this fiction that Poochie is writing the column. But actually, Poochie is writing the column. But no one knows that. Everyone thinks it's like a joke. Okay.
And
all right.
And the actual owner has disappeared. We don't know where, and we only see him, in the form of this hologram saying, X, I wanted you to find your own way, but it seems we're destined to fight.
Same note. I have the same note that is Dr. Light for Mega Man X.
Ooh, I hope he teaches her the Shoryuken.
Oh, but he's got Mr. Slate's voice in the Flintstones.
This thing has
it's the same Slate's guy, voice. Yeah. It's John Stevenson.
This is a John Stevenson, free for all.
Yeah, he does like 3 or 4 other characters.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
I was surprised he didn't do Poochie.
He also does the voice because he does the voice of the oh my god, he does the voice of not just Poochie's owner, but like the other editor of the newspaper, and it's the exact same voice.
Yeah.
He doesn't even try to take their voice.
Doesn't even try.
Oh my god, I didn't notice till you mentioned it. That's the Mr. Slate voice, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Poochie is actually writing the advice column. Her owner has vanished. Apparently, he seems like I thought he was going on a globetrotting adventure to help people, and was just busy, but it looks like he may have disappeared and left that legacy to Poochie.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering if maybe, it was written as he died and they cut that out.
Oh, because America. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. So wow. So this is already okay. I feel like there are already like 8 different weird things about that, and this is not even getting
We're
into.
not even scratching the surface. Then then we meet the C-3PO we have at home.
Alfie the robot. Yes.
This is anime C-3PO. There is no way around it. Maybe this is why it didn't get picked up for a series.
Oh man. Yeah, so Poochie has a personal robot, who's British. Yes. Personal British it's C-3PO, like you said. And he's like kind of a cowardly gay British robot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's even golden. They're not even trying to not make him look like C-3PO.
No.
All that's missing is C-3PO's weird belly button.
Yeah, there is a second robot who's kind of R2-D2 coded.
I was thinking more Conky.
Oh yeah, a bit of Conky there.
He does remind me of Conky. Does this predate Conky?
It might actually.
It's close.
When did that...
It's close.
Yeah, I think Pee-wee's Playhouse came out in 1987. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got our proto Conky here.
Yeah, kind of like Conky, and also kind of like the robot from Jump, Rattle, and Roll.
There's also a little bit of the the honeycomb hideout robot. I feel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut. Wow.
I mean, I feel, and also a little bit of, oh God, what is that awful robot on Buck Rogers? Twinkie?
Oh, Twinkie, yes.
Twinkie. I feel like okay, so basically what we're saying is, think of any shitty robot that exists who has a phrase that they repeat. That's this robot.
Yeah,
Yes.
it just looks like he's made of parts.
Yeah.
And he is the worst reader in the world because he literally eats the letters.
He's eating the letter.
Yeah.
It looks like his mouth is a paper shredder, and he's like eating his way through it as he's reading with like this wacky robot voice. Dear Poochie. The voice is Fred Travellina, by the way. Do you remember Fred Travellina?
Tell me.
Okay, you watched those Thanksgiving Day parades last year, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
the Joker?
With the Joker? The Joker.
Oh shit, the Joker! Oh my
That's
God.
Fred Travellina is this robot zip code.
Wow.
Wow, man of 1,000 voices.
Should have rolled out the red carpet. Didn't know we had a celebrity here.
I assume this robot's name is zip code because he reads letters which have zip codes. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. So Poochie has these two robots who help Poochie do what she needs to do, which is
He also has this console that she sits at with all these kind of keyboard-shaped buttons. And I don't know about you, but my first thought is the pleasure machine from Barbarella.
Oh, it is a thing of beauty. It's like a cassette futurism back computer. I love it.
Yeah. No, I love the whole aesthetic of this show is just delightful. I was just like, someday, something that makes $1 billion, they're gonna be like, what was your inspiration here? I was like, you ever see Poochie?
Yeah, she's on the top floor of this of magazine building. It looks like the Daily Planet, except that instead of a globe at the top, it's this giant chaos emerald. And that's Poochie's office with this mainframe computer. I do like that they set up that it says like Poochie operating system activated, and that sets up the concept that Hermes, the C-3PO robot, can understand Poochie, and that's why we hear her English-speaking voice, but to everyone else, she just barks.
Wait.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I was under the impression it was a secret that Poochie could talk.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought too. And then this time watching it like that rope, like when she's first coming up the big glass elevator, it says Poochie operating system activated, Poochie translator activated.
Oh.
Like, wait a minute. They explain that in universe.
Okay,
wait, so Poochie can't talk? Or, well, I mean, she's a sapient dog, but she doesn't actually speak English?
Okay, I didn't.
Hermes is just using his translator, and we're hearing what he hears.
Okay, because when they leave the building, he mentions he has a translator, and he says it'll allow me to hear other dogs other than you. And I thought that meant that Poochie was talking, but no other dog could. But now I see if that Poochie translator activated, he's just saying I can understand other dogs in addition to you, because we do meet another talking dog. So
yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay. That actually, while that makes this special less insane in some ways, because there's not just a single sentient talking dog, it also makes it more insane because it means that the editor of this newspaper was like, I'm going to disappear now, and I'm going to leave everything in the hands of my ordinary dog. It's just a dog.
I'm guessing he built the translator and the robot, so...
Okay, is Poochie being uplifted?
We're doing some real Inherit the Earth shit here. Okay, I think so. Basically, the original editor of the newspaper, before he disappeared, he built that thing that Herb Powell built to understand babies, but for dogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's a vibe I'm getting.
Well, apparently Hermes can understand any animal, or so he says.
Okay, so I'm following so far, but there's we're still just unpacking the premise of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is so dense.
Okay, so they received
Poochie
a
is like a
letter.
neutron star.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, there's oh boy, strap in, folks. Because Poochie receives a letter from the kid in Egypt, and I guess in addition to being an advice columnist, Poochie's also like a world adventurer who goes out and helps people and who are in trouble.
I
But
can
I
get
guess-
behind that. I like the idea of if they wanted to make Uncle Scrooge for girls, you could do worse, I suppose.
It's like
Yeah.
part
Uncle Scrooge
advice
is
column,
necessarily for
part
boys.
rescue aid society.
Yeah. Okay, but also and more and more I'm just thinking of the thought process of this child who sends a letter to Poochie. It's like I'm being chased by like strange men in Egypt. The only person who can help me is the dog, an ordinary dog that we are all pretending writes an advice column, which is actually written by the editor of this newspaper. And then he writes a letter and the dog shows up, not the guy. It's just the dog.
Right.
No, I really love this idea because it's the perfect cover for Poochie because if she only answers letters personally from children, then nobody believes them when they say, "Hey, I met Poochie and her robot friend."
Yeah, that's it. Well, he's not. He's wearing a disguise when he meets
true.
the kid.
But the kid knew who Hermes was, so
This must be
Just-
what he looks like when he's out and about. He dresses up like Jeff from Today's Special when he goes out in public.
Oh my god, he totally does. He's got the little flat cap and the bow tie and
And the red plaid jacket.
all he's missing is the perm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's extremely dapper. So is he called Hermes because he flies the jet? Do you think?
No, that's probably
maybe.
it. No, it's because he's great at limbo.
Always beating that Barbados Slim. Okay, so they go to Egypt to save
Yeah,
this
they go
kid.
to Egypt in Poochie's personal plane that says Poochie on the fin.
Okay, there's just more and more. Every moment of this special, just okay. So she goes to Egypt. Okay, and so the kid, having escaped from these guys who are chasing him, hides in a pyramid in a sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Okay,
So he was
Place
hiding.
they'd
He
ever
wasn't
look.
locked in there.
Oh, maybe he was. Was he locked in there? I was under the impression.
Oh
he,
yeah, because like they have to like hit the brick on the wall to open the room where he's in. So I guess he was, and he said he was with his dad. His dad disappeared while they were investigating this pyramid, and then he got chased, and then he went back to the pyramid to hide.
Yes.
I mean, when you're separated from your dad, you just want to get close to him, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Well, I do.
oh, let's talk about their dune buggy.
Yeah.
Poochie has all the best gadgets.
Poochie,
Get those
I feel like
wonderful
they didn't
toys.
know what kind of toy Poochie was because now Poochie gets to use something out of Mask.
It really is like Mask. Well, it's the same director as Mask.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains a
Kazuo
lot.
Terada was the
Yeah, she has
animation
this
director.
transforming three-wheeled dune buggy that turns
Yeah.
into a hovercraft.
Oh man, it is. Yeah, they they thought maybe Poochie can appeal to boys. I guess.
I mean,
Got me.
got me. Shoot.
Yeah. But so Poochie is the first unisex '80s toy. So good
Yeah.
on Poochie
It
for
is.
breaking down barriers. I mean, it's true. It's like it's a cute dog for the girls. She's got like cars and robots for the boys. It's just like perfect. Okay, so she's got a dune buggy. It turns into like I think a hovercraft and all sorts of things.
And
And
then they end up in Cairo finally. I don't think Cairo has all dirt roads like this.
No, this looks like a Bible story. This is like the marketplace in Agrabah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, cartoons in the '80s. That's kind of what things looked like,
Yeah.
where it's just like, everything outside of like America is just going to be like what it was in the 1800s, you know, like whenever they show like England and it's all like, you know, guys in powdered wigs and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love when they show characters going to England and it's like literal knights in armor.
Yeah. But so okay, so the kid's father disappeared while looking at this one wall, and the kid is like, okay, well, my dad was looking at this wall, and I looked away, and then I looked back, and he was gone. And while he does that, this exact same thing happens to Hermes.
Yeah. It's like, kid, come on, have you never seen anything about Egypt before?
Yeah, because I think
you ever seen a mummy cartoon like this one?
Exactly. I feel like anyone can guess what's going to happen, and that is it's the old rotating wall gag, because the wall rotates. You push a button on the wall turns around, and then you're in a secret room. But the dad's not in the secret room because there's another thing you push in that room, and this is the other thing that happens in Egypt, which is when the floor opens and you fall. So you know, so those are the two things that happen to in pyramids.
I feel like, you know, they should have fallen into a hall with a whole lot of doors where they could be chased back and forth by mummies.
Yeah, that's all this is missing.
You know, I will say for an Egypt episode of an 80s cartoon, we do not get a lot of mummies.
No.
There's mummy TF in this, but there's no actual mummies. But it turns out that when they fall through the thing, there's a secret society of guys who what exactly are these guys doing? They're just
you know, kind of living their lives in this underground city, and I guess disposing of anyone who finds their underground city.
Yeah, if you find them, they execute you.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. They don't like being found. So it's, you know, it's kind of one of those 80s things where it's like, oh, we're doing things in order to be done, I guess. You know.
It sort of feels like they were kind of aiming for something like the movie The Mole People.
Yeah, I was thinking like that okay, they were supposed to be kind of like a Shangri-La type society where it's like this perfect utopia that like no one can ever know about, but then it seems like they're also there to protect the mummy, because I think they say they used to work for Pharaoh Knick-Knack or whatever his name is.
Nick Naughton, but yeah.
Nick Naughton.
Yeah. Which I was watching this with the YouTube captions on it. It was very funny how many different ways that it transliterated Nick Naughton.
Yeah, they just gave up.
Nick McMutton.
Is Nick Naughton an actual Egyptian guy? Because it does not sound Egyptian to me. It's
yes, Nick Naughton, who was the ancestor of Nick.
You know, from the Stickly dynasty.
That's right.
So these guys are all they're basically like, I think they're called like the Society of Nick Naughton or something like that, or they've got a queen. She's like their Cleopatra type, and she's
high priestess.
The high priestess, yes.
Yeah, so this is a group without a leader apart from the high priestess, so she has to do what they say.
Yeah, she seems like pretty easily bullied, to be honest.
Yeah, she looks like she's young, and so they're just kind of they're calling the shots, and she's the de facto leader.
But she has to listen to what yet another character voiced by John Stevenson says.
Yeah,
I like this guy because he seems like, from his the fact that he's got access to the high priestess, and he's sort of like, you know, in this advisory role, he feels like he should be a vizier of some sort, but he's just dressed like a guy.
Yeah,
you know, he was one of the goons chasing the kid earlier, so it just feels like he's like a random mook that's just like, oh, by the way, I've also got the high priestess's ear for reasons.
Yeah, he's the only person we see besides the high priestess that isn't dressed like a shy guy.
Yeah, that's why he got promoted. It's like, I like this guy's fashion. I can tell him apart. Yeah. He's I do like though that he's all like, look, these people saw the forbidden treasure, we need to execute them, and the high priestess is like, can't we just use the flower of forgetting? Which is a thing they have. They have flour that makes you forget things. And
it makes you forget specific things, apparently.
It's very specific when we see them actually use it later. But...
Yeah. It's like, but I like how the guy is like, oh, we can't do that because
we have work.
Yeah, he's like, we haven't used it in a really long time, so it might not work anymore. And the high priest is like, well, we should try, and he's like, no, it's too dangerous. And it's like, well, what actually is the danger in the forget? They never explain what the danger of the forgetting flower is.
No.
Because
I guess the danger is that it doesn't work and people remember. It felt like it was leading up to a joke where like, we'll compromise, we'll use the forgetting flower, then we'll kill them. You want to do it the other way around? That works too.
Now that you mention it, I guess that guy, the sniff it guy, actually had a really good point because as we see at the end of this cartoon, it actually doesn't work. So he was right. It was too dangerous. They really should have executed these guys. Yeah. But we'll get to that. So the Pharaoh is all like, I don't want to execute them, and throw them in jail. And there's the dad. They're in jail with the dad. And the dad is...
I guess the dad has also heard of Poochie and Hermes before.
Yeah. There's a weird bit here where, like, the dad starts explaining, like, what, the situation. And Danny just kind of blurts out, "What discovery, Dad?" And the dad, without pausing, just kind of rambles on to the terrible thing is they're going to kill us. Not even acknowledging the kid's response. It's actually really funny.
Danny, the men are talking.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Danny, please. Big people are talking. I'm talking to this dog right now, Danny, please.
The dog's not there. It's just Hermes that gets thrown into jail. And Hermes, of course, is wondering, where's my dog? Because whatever Poochie's not on frame, we should be asking, who's Poochie? Where's Poochie?
Oh, that's right. Poochie does not get caught because Poochie then uses stealth and deceit to trick the high priestess into doing the forgetting flower. So
yeah, like she sees Poochie in the eye of this giant statue of the god Osiris. They call it the goddess Osiris later, even though it's this tall statue with a big long beard.
Yeah, I believe Osiris is kind of famous for being a god. Like that's kind of his thing,
All right, hooray for trans icon goddess Osiris.
You know what? Good for her.
Yeah, I support her.
Yeah, she's valid. I guess like maybe you could I suppose make an argument here that like if perhaps this is a reference to that one pharaoh, that one lady pharaoh who just like wore a beard, but like
yeah.
But I suspect that that is not actually what the case here. They were just like, oh, whatever. Goddess Osiris, yeah, sure. So she sees the Poochie in the eye of Osiris. Osiris is famous for his eye, so I think Horus has the eye actually.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Delete that.
Horus's eye is the sun, Set's eye is the moon, and Osiris's eye is a little pink dog.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So she sees the dog and is like, it's a sign from Osiris. It's that thing Osiris is famous for. Little pink dogs.
Yeah, but of course, when she tries to show everybody, Poochie's gone by then, and they're just like, they just walk away. They don't even say anything. They're just like, yeah.
Yeah, it sure seems like the high priestess's visions should be taken more seriously, but maybe it's a little acknowledgement that they all know this is crap.
Yeah, they're all just kind of like they're all just going along with it, but they're really not. Their hearts are really not into this religion,
especially because they pronounce that the interlopers should be turned into mummies. And then they don't know how to make mummies?
Right.
There's a lot that goes into making a mummy, including preservation and the removal of the organs and putting them in canopic jars, and the removal of the brain with the hook through the nose. They don't do any of that. They just wrap them in bandages live.
Yeah, they're gonna bury him alive.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's like, okay, that is worse, but it's yeah, but it is funny. They just like wrap them up and put them. But luckily, Poochie has a plan to get them unwrapped, which is basically Hermes has to roll down a hill.
Yeah, they wrap them up in bandages. They put them in a cart, wheel them to the top of this other ramp, but they don't bring them all the way to the top. They just there's enough room to put that cart on the top step, but they have to put a stone there to stop it from rolling down the hill, and they just leave it there. This is their fault.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I like that we get a moment for Hermes to actually be cool when the cart is rolling right at him at top speed, and he does this slow motion $6 million man jump into it.
Yeah.
He's got his moments.
Yeah, he runs like Lupin the Third.
Yeah. Again, this is a very it's not quite fully anime, but the anime shines through in this.
It really does.
And so this cart goes all the way down to the ramp, and then comes to a staircase and rolls all the way up the staircase.
Up the other side of the staircase.
What rolls upstairs alone or in pairs?
Yeah, so but then I think so what is then after that when Poochie does the second half of her ruse to
the second
she tells Hermes to use his special effects equipment.
Yeah, because he can make noises, he can do lights and sounds. So he's doing
a whole laser light show.
Yeah, it's like being at the Caesar's Palace Forum,
It's like meeting Jim.
It is like meeting Jim.
I guess that was the one thing that they were okay with girls doing in the 80s, was using laser lights and holograms.
Yeah, if you're a girl in the 80s, that's pretty much all you could do, other than I guess bubbles. Other than bubbles. Yeah. Bubbles. I think if you're a girl in the 80s, the only jobs that exist to are Rockstar and Pony. So what else?
And there's some overlap.
Yes, there is in fact. So she does. So I guess Poochie has figured out that she can kind of milk this Osiris bit. So she's all she gets up in a big diamond type thing, I think.
Yeah, they also have a giant jewel at the top of a building.
It's just it's the style back then.
It was the style at the time.
Yeah. So they so she does this thing where she's like, I'm Osiris and I command you to not kill these guys. Use the forgetting flower. Do it. And
she speaks out loud, apparently.
Hey,
in her own voice. So how is so
forget everything I said earlier, I guess.
So she can talk, or Hermes has a very powerful translation thing going on.
Yeah, because she does say because he uses other sound effects as he's shooting these laser beams. So maybe that's it. I don't know. Either is plausible.
No, yeah. I mean, as plausible as anything in getting this story about.
Right. I mean, we're already here. We're already watching the talking dog be zoomed it, blown up with projections and whatever, and you have the C-3PO robot in disguise shooting lasers at a diamond. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there's again a lot going on in this, but they do use the forgetting flower, and it causes them to forget, except for Hermes, because it does not affect him. So
he has to fake it, and he fakes it by jerking around like he was Ataru Moroboshi.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, if I was Poochie, I'd be like, this showboating asshole is gonna get us all got.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Hermes, get with the program. But they knock them all out. The forgetting flower is kind of looks like, I was not expecting it to look like that. It kind of looks like a succulent. I thought it would, I thought it'd be like, I don't know, like a rafflesia type thing or something,
You know what? But that was my first thought too.
So, yeah. I just feel like a big old flower, but
right. Flower that eats you and spits you out somewhere where you've forgotten what happened.
Oh yeah, I mean that would make me forget. So they put him in a boat and they end up,
they end up on the banks of the river, I guess, presumably the Nile. And
yeah, they just dump their unconscious bodies on the side of the river.
But luckily, it's all okay.
Of course, Poochie didn't get the flower, so because no one was ever aware that she was actually there. So she just stowed away on the boat, and I guess she had to steer it to the banks herself and drag all their bodies off of it.
Yeah,
unconscious bodies. And
Poochie's amazing.
Yeah. So okay, so Danny has forgotten everything, but Poochie comes up to him and starts licking him, which is, a little weird when she's sapient, but I guess she communicates in dog language too. And he's like, Poochie! And he doesn't seem surprised to see her.
Right. So, how does the Forgotten Flower know to trim their memories to, whatever exact moment? Is it when they fell through the trapdoor? How did they know to do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess how much time has actually passed between falling through the trap door and this moment? Because it seems like it's been at least a few days to a week, maybe. So
right,
that's a big memory loss.
Yeah, and the dad says the last thing I remember, we were investigating a pyramid.
And he doesn't seem surprised to see his son either.
Yeah, well, because he remembers falling through the trap door, so he doesn't realize that he and his son were separated.
Oh, right. That's right.
But I think it's funny that he's like, wow, why are we here? Last thing I remember, we were investigating pyramid. Well, that's done. Let's not bother finishing that. Let's just move on. I hope.
I can only assume that the flower interacts with something of the atmosphere of the underground city.
Oh, yep.
But I mean, we're getting into what wild mass guessing. So
sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just it can be anything at this point, Okay, so then I guess Poochie then is all like, well, that was another amazing Poochie adventure, and Poochie, is it really you? I think is there more? I can't remember.
The only other thing, the rest of this is all repeated footage from earlier. So, except for one shot of Poochie and Hermes posed together under, I guess, the other title of the show, Dear Poochie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's confusing. There's two titles. God, okay.
Maybe that was going to be the title of this initial episode if it had gone to series.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is probably the first one. So yeah, Dear Poochie. Okay. Well, what did we all think of Poochie or Dear Poochie?
This could have been a fun series if they picked it up.
Yeah. What would you do if? What would you want to see in a series?
Just globe-trotting adventures. Just go to a different place every time.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that the advice comes. Yeah. We're already that close to Inspector Gadget, so sure.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They're kind of doing it as a Gadget or DuckTales type thing, where it's a new adventure every week.
Right.
And plus, I can see you're gonna have the episode where they go, I don't know, to space. You're gonna have the episode where they go under the ocean. You're gonna have the London episode where they meet knights. You're gonna have the episode where they go to I don't know what other countries existed in the 80s.
Australia.
You go to Australia.
Lost in the outback.
Yeah. You're gonna go
meet the Noozles.
Meet the Noozles. You're gonna you're gonna have the episode
Rock. Or Uluru.
Uluru, right.
Yep. You're gonna have the episode where they, 80s cartoons. You have episode where they, well, because there are robots and weird technology in this too, so you could even like just get more sci-fi. I'm sure they have episodes where like, I don't know, Poochie meets robots from space or shrinks or something. There's endless possibilities.
I think that because this has such a Japanese influence and because it's from the 80s, I think that there would have been something of a continuing storyline, possibly involving the missing editor. And because of that, I think, see, what happened was Japan for the 80s into the 90s was in this huge fad for like time life mystery stuff. It had something to do with how with the what's that guy's name? Oh, Uri Geller. Japan friggin' loved Uri Geller.
Wait, the spoon guy?
Yes, he was such a phenomenon in Japan that it kicked ninjas out of the comics, and psychic stuff became one of the major features of Japanese pop culture. And
wow.
Yeah, and you see this everywhere. You see this in Akira, which deals with psychic stuff. You see this in Earthbound, which is about psychic stuff. Yeah. And there's always all these tie-ins with, ancient aliens and the pyramids and the moai and like Dogu figurines and like the prophecies of Nostradamus. Almost every thing that was for anyone around the age of 12 had all this stuff stirred into it. So I feel like we would have seen a lot of that kind of thing in Poochie.
Yeah, actually, that would actually be kind of cool. I kind of like that because I feel like that is they were a little behind us because we had that fad in the 70s, when everyone was into psychics, and then in the 80s, I think. Well, what were we into the 80s? Were we into ninjas? I feel like ninjas were a thing, but
ninjas did become a big thing in the 80s because, as everyone knows the story that the two biggest comics on the shelves were about either ninjas, that's Daredevil, or Teenage Mutants, that's the X-Men. So Eastman and Laird came up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, okay, yeah, that explains that. That I also remember when like everyone was doing parodies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where they were just like, what if we just did the same thing but we had a different animal?
Yeah,
that would be inherently.
You have to come up with a synonym for each of the 4 words.
Yeah,
or it doesn't count.
Yeah, it would be like things like geriatric deformed samurai hamsters or something.
Yes.
And people are like, that's the funniest shit I've ever seen. Oh man, what do they do? Well, they just do what the Ninja Turtles do. But the problem is like every single iteration of that, if they use an animal that is objectively less funny than Turtle to be a ninja,
Yeah, I can't think of one that's less funny than a ninja. Well, except that, and it's never, but then they never do ninja again. That's always like, but then they also can't think of any other form of Southeast Asian combat.
Yeah. The one I remember was from Roundhouse, and it's preteen genetically altered martial arts iguanas.
Martial arts, huh?
Martial arts.
Could you get any more generic? It's like, combat animals.
Well, it would be funny to like that's not. I mean, Ninja Turtles are back, in a big way. Not that they ever really left. Right. So, but they haven't, I guess because they haven't brought back the cottage industry of like really shitty Ninja Turtle parodies, which is unfortunate because think of all the guys who just do MMA Turtles now.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, or just like so which honestly I think you could actually that there's a lot of comedic potential in that, but so that's another thing we're putting out there for the kids. Hey, for free.
Have a whole turtle fighting league. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, like I think Poochie is probably one of the strangest things that I have watched that is not actually made by a person with some sort of outsider art psychosis.
Considering it's supposed to be branded, that it's supposed to be advertising something. I mean, does this make you want to buy the Poochie stuff? Well, it does for me.
I mean, I'm certainly like fascinated by this, and it's one of the few things that, like, because I've watched like hundreds of just like shitty directed dumpster videos, and this one definitely stands out. Like, even before rewatching it, I remember like, oh yeah, Poochie, she's the advice columnist dog that's also a globetrotting adventurer, and nobody knows that she's actually not the editor, and she has a robot sidekick. So a lot of this really stuck with me, even though it is completely bonkers and feels like it should just kind of trip over itself too much to actually be coherent. But it works surprisingly well, I think, for being such a hodgepodge, which, speaking of, we'll talk about that in our next episode. With that said, though, is there anything else we want to say about Poochie, or should we prepare for something else?
I like to think that because of the advice columnist thing, I'm thinking, what if this was actually originally pushed as a Dear Abby cartoon?
I wonder.
Oh my god!
Abigail Van Buren and her robot partner come to rescue a kid in the pyramid.
I love jump back and forth between Inspector Gadget and the Care Bears.
What I like about that is this world we live in, where I mean, I don't know that this was such a. I mean, this has always been a thing, but it's more and more where, in order to make a movie or a TV series, you kind of have to convince the suits that it has a built-in audience. Like,
yes.
So they take all these pre-existing properties and make stuff out of it, even though clearly it makes no sense as a movie. Like when we saw they made the the Battleship movie, or the Tetris movie, or the Pop-Tarts movie. So I like the idea that they if they started doing this with newspaper columnists, so you got like Dear Abby doing going on globetrotting adventures, and maybe they had an Irma Bombeck series where she had like a wacky wisecracking alien sidekick or something, and perhaps we could have Andy Rooney as a piloting a mech. I don't know. Oh, no. Okay. Do a mech show where the mechs are all different columnists. So it's going to be like, Dear Abby and Andy Rooney and Dave Barry.
Why am I the left arm? I'm right-handed.
Readers, I am not making this up. So, and they just they transform into I don't know, some giant robot that is somehow newspaper themed. I feel like this would be a good thing. Like when newspapers were just starting to die when the internet came out, they should come out with. They should have done this to like promote readers, like younger readers. Oh, hey, man. you like this? Come read the newspaper. You can see your favorite mech pilot writing about why they always lose one of their socks in the dishwasher or something.
So
like
okay,
a booklet variant for newspapers.
Would Dan Savage be a good guy or bad guy?
Oh boy, that's a good question. I feel like
a hero.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he would be the kind of the cool kind of wisecracking
ranger.
Yeah. Like I feel like you would have he'd be the wisecracking one. You'd have Irma Bombeck as the pink one, girl.
Right.
Dear Abby would be the smart one. She's the one who's like comes up with the plans. Dave Barry would be he's the comic relief, and then I don't know, are there other newspaper columnists? Or?
No, the villain should be T. Herman Zweibel.
Oh wow! This is a great idea for a series. We're throwing gold out here. Okay, you just need a title. Is the only thing.
Ionic Column.
Yes. Okay. So, if only they'd done this.
Free idea.
Yeah. If only they'd done this, perhaps newspapers would still be around. Anyway, yeah. So Poochie, I think it is unfortunate that we didn't get a whole Poochie series. So go check out Poochie, Dear Poochie, and think about what might have been.
Actually, I think it's a good place to end right there.
All right, sounds good. Do you guys?
Oh wait, we should do the That's right. We should do the thank you thing. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, do that.
Oh yes, yes. We should thank Mike Westfall for being on our show. I mean, it was your idea in the first place, but I had to jump at it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad you did. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, since Mike, where can they find you online? Promote your wares now to our audience of 4.
My podcast is the Advent Calendar House. It's about holiday specials. I'm going to have a dozen new episodes coming for Christmas in July. You can find that at adventcalendar.house. You can find me on Blue Sky at makewistful.com. It sounds like my name, but it's not my name.
Clever.
And that's it.
Yep. And you can also find me at Advent Calendar House. I've done at least 6 episodes by now.
Yeah, about that.
Well, eventually you'll do a whole Advent calendar worth.
Wow, yeah. Actually, I think that was how Mike got in touch with us, was when we did our Advent calendar thing. I guess Mike must have been Googling Advent Calendar Podcast and found us or something.
I don't know how I found. I think, I don't know. It was on Twitter, and I was just like, "Ooh, you're doing it too! Great!"
Oh yeah, back in the days when Twitter was a thing.
When Twitter was a legitimate public good. Oh. What a world. It feels as far away as the world of Poochie now.